take a look at it. There's a message by Sayyidina and a few other posts. It's the Department of Church and Culture. We've named it RediscoverIAM. And as you all know, Christ has the great I ams. You know, I am the vine, I am the truth, I am the way, I am the shepherd, good shepherd, etc. And I just wanted to kind of introduce you a little bit to the ministry. But before I do that, if everybody could open up their phones, go on Instagram and follow RediscoverIAM. I know you all have Instagram, don't pretend like you don't. And just RediscoverIAM and just follow it, that would be great. And kind of go from there. So the vision of the ministry is sort of the mission of the church, right? And from the very beginning of the church, we see that the church is neither Egyptian or American, Western or Eastern. The church is for everybody. And that's why we say the church is Catholic and universal, right? It doesn't apply to a particular country or a particular place. And so what the group really wants to do, and sort of the mission is as in Sayyidina's words, is to be very Orthodox and very American. And present to all of you and to everybody who's in America or Canada or wherever, the Orthodox faith, the ancient faith, in a very culturally appropriate way. And so that's the idea, is to try to keep the culture appropriate and adjusted while maintaining all of the Orthodox and the life and the mysteries of the church. We have 6 ministries, and I'll just go through them very quickly. One of them is called I Am the Cornerstone, which is actually what this ministry, this hashtag relationship goals is a part of. And the idea here is it's all about dating is kind of, this is the first step, and then after that we do a lot with premarital, and then we want to do more with marital, and then we want to do more with parenting. And we actually had our first parenting event last 2 weeks ago. And the idea is to go through all the different seasons of a relationship, as the relationship is kind of God created Adam and Eve, right? God created us married. And so that's the primary relationship of our life. And so the focus on that, as Sarah will tell you, as a path to salvation, is essential. These are some of the different things we do. If anybody is engaged or knows someone who will be engaged in November, keep an eye out. We have a premarital, it's called COPE, Coptic Orthodox Premarriage Encounter. That's a whole day. We have really amazing speakers, some workshops, stuff like that. For those of you who are engaged or know someone who's engaged, please announce it to your friends and family. I'm the Vine. We're going to focus on mentorship and discipleship. I Am the Truth is about holy sexuality, and there we have 2 different initiatives. One of them is just kind of focused on some of the sexual trials and difficulties we all go through, whether it be fornication, pornography, adultery, whatever the case may be, and kind of focus on that particular area. And then the other area is His Beloved, which is a group for those who are same-sex attracted, the LGBTQ community that's in the church. If anyone knows someone who is same-sex attracted, struggling, distant from the church, this is usually the case, and sometimes the families then leave the church as well, please tell them about this website, hisbeloved.co. I recommend you go to the website yourself as well. It's basically a support group that we have. We meet every 2 weeks on Zoom, and it's a group of people who are struggling with this thing, and the church is nurturing and loving them and meeting them where they are. It's not trying to change them. It's not conversion therapy. It's not none of those things. It's a support group to meet people where they are and to love them the way Christ met lepers in their isolation. I Am the Light is a ministry that's dedicated to rebuilding those who have left the church. As many of you know, lots of people have left, especially people like my age. And it's not a big exodus. It is a big exodus, but it's a quiet exodus. It's, I come every week, I come every other week, every third week, every fifth week, every Eid, every other Eid, right? And that's what's happening a lot. And so we want to focus on going back to these people, understanding them, meeting them where they are. A lot of them left for really bad reasons. not the right reasons. If you left for the right reason, okay, but most of them didn't, so we want to rebuild the community. I'm the Good Shepherd is another ministry that we focus on supporting the clergy and the servants, again, helping give them resources in order to deal with some of the contemporary issues in the culture that we have today. You know, it's just a different world, and it's changing very, very quickly, and empowering servants and clergy and being a resource to them to help them shepherd their flock and serve the people. And then finally, social media, the Instagram page I just told you about. There's a website as well that I highly recommend you go to. Our head of social media is here, Mina, and Jesse, and lots of other people. God willing, what we want to do there is really focus on addressing the issues why youth have left, and target those particular issues. We've sort of identified 10 major reasons why people leave the church. And so our social media will be directed at that kind of thinking and hopefully try to stem that tide. Yes, sir. That's a great question. Thank you for asking. I would go, I don't know, I would go to the website. There's an info at the RediscoverIAM email, and I would click on that, and then that will be routed to somebody who will, or DM the Instagram.
Yeah, if you visit the website, there is a contact tab, so just click on that and just write out your email again, which is and we'll reach out to you guys.
Or you can just text me. Huh? My phone number is, no, I'm not going to tell you. Okay. No, he has my number, so that's why. Many of you have my number. Okay. So anyway, so that's the social media arm, and that's a great question. If anybody would like to help, we would love for you to help. There's so many things we want to do simultaneously. As you can imagine, it's a lot of work, and we're moving on like so many fronts all at the same time. All right, so that's the website and the Instagram. So no further ado, introduce to you Sarah. Please give her a very warm welcome. Thank you, Sarah.
Okay, so I'm told by Murray to announce this, okay? This is the Slido where you text in your questions. I believe it's open for the whole talk, so if you want to take a picture of the codes or whatever it is, and then you can text stuff in as the talk is going on. We usually keep it open. We're reviewing all the questions from the entire weekend. To be perfectly transparent, it helps a lot with feedback, because for those of you who don't know, or this is the first time you're hearing of relationship goals, it's a very dynamic service, and we have to be able to kind of, adjust and things like that. So anything that comes to mind, just text it in. Even if we don't get to the questions in the actual session, we definitely review them just for kind of a pulse check. Wait, I'll give everybody a second. We're good? Okay, so I have to apologize a little bit, okay? The other talks that were not scheduled for this church are like a little bit more fun, like people will laugh and that kind of stuff. So it's a little grim, but it's gonna be fine, okay? It's gonna be fine. We're gonna try and have a good time. It's gonna be fine. But this one is a little grim, okay? So I'm warning you in advance. And then they also scheduled conflict resolution on the same day, so we're gonna talk about being sad and then being angry. It's gonna be fine though. It's gonna be fine, okay? All right, so what are we going to cover today? So we're going to try and chunk this out into 4 parts, okay? We're going to talk about why you need to bounce back from a breakup, okay? How to actually bounce back from a breakup, okay? And we're going to follow David's walk through something difficult that he went through as kind of our inspiration. Then we're going to talk about the baggage piece. So what is baggage? What contributes to you carrying baggage? And how do you take that baggage that you have from other relationships and prevent it from manifesting negatively in the future, whether it's in relationships or whatever it is, okay? All right, so why do we care? Why in relationship goals do we devote an entire talk to baggage and breakups, okay? First of all, no matter who you are and no matter what you've been through, your life experiences are always going to shape your perspectives on things. We just had a very uncomfortable conversation in the car where my sister was pointing out to me all the ways our childhood history has impacted who I am today, and I'm very uncomfortable because I don't want to acknowledge that, okay? But that is the reality. The reality is what you've been through will always shape your perspectives. It will always shape your ideas, and it'll shape the way you feel about things. And if you've been in a relationship previously, then you'll have ideas about what worked and what didn't. If you've never been in a relationship previously, but you've seen relationships modeled in front of you, you've watched your parents, you've watched friends, you've watched whatever, it will put ideas in your head that you may not really even appreciate that you have. And so we have to be able to talk about it. We have to be able to bring that up to the surface and question ourselves as to why we feel the way we feel, okay? So like, for example, one of the worst dates my husband ever planned, okay? Worst, okay? This was very early on when we were dating, okay, very early on, and my husband had like a preconceived notion from previous relationships about what Valentine's Day is supposed to look like, okay? So like previous girls that he had dated, we can talk about that, yes? Previous girls? Okay, cool. Previous girls that he had dated, okay, like, sorry, excuse me. I'm feeling a little bit unwell, I'm sorry. So, previous girls that he had dated were very focused on like a very prim and proper, like classy restaurant, expensive, okay? Him and his parents are into that like musical vibe. Do you guys like musicals? I don't like musicals, I hate musicals, okay? The musical vibe and whatever, and the Broadway thing, and it's gotta be like this big fuss and whatever. That's not really me, okay? Like that's not my vibe. But he had been in previous relationships where that was the only way to do things, and that's the bar. And if you don't do that, you fall short of the bar, okay? So our first Valentine's Day date, I'm like pumped, like, are we gonna go get like wings? Like, what are we gonna do? Like, I'm pumped. And he's like, no, get dressed up. I'm like, okay, cool. We get dressed up and we go to a Harry Potter musical. And like, I can tell that he had tried so hard, and like, these tickets were so hard to get, and I'm literally sitting there like, just please kill me now, okay? Can you imagine people singing about Harry Potter? Okay, it was torture, okay? And then I'm forcing my way through it, and then in the intermission, they serve us butterbeer. What is happening? Okay, I'm an adult, okay? Fine, no problem, very good. If the Harry Potter fans in the crowd are gonna lose their minds right now, okay? We make it through the show, it's great, whatever, and then we leave and we go for dinner, okay? And we're at this, you guys don't know Toronto, but there's like a really like expensive strip in Toronto, it's called Yorkville, whatever. We go to this very posh restaurant, okay? We get there, we're all dressed up, we sit down, so posh, okay? Take the menu, nothing is in English. What on earth is happening, okay? The waiter comes to take our order, and we're asking, like, what is this? And he just looks at us like, with disdain. Like, nobody asks what this is. Do you know what I mean? Like, and like unwilling to clarify, okay? So we're like, okay, this one, okay? And, of course, it comes, and it's like, the plate's this big, and the food is this big, okay? And so, like, through refined delivery, okay, and we have to be able to build people up with our words and not tear them down, we talked about it, and we talked about why he felt, knowing who I am, that this is the appropriate way for us to spend our time. I promise you he's never taking me to a musical ever again. Please, thank you, okay? But it's because he carried with him perceptions from previous relationships about this is what people do. And transparently, his parents go to musicals all the time. They love musicals. So he carried with him perceptions from previous relationships that may not necessarily be relevant. And if I had been, a different person, a much more agitated person, okay, like, I might not have tried so hard to be sensitive in my communication about the fact that this was literally the worst date we've ever had, right? And so we have to be able to understand where our perceptions come from and to be able to question them, right? And to be able to make sure that they're relevant and that they make sense in the context that we're living. That's why we talk about baggage and breakups. So it's important to understand your experiences, because baggage explains, but if you don't bring it to the surface, then you allow it to justify your behavior, especially when your behavior is not in line with who you want to be. So we're bringing it to the surface to understand why we're responding the way we are and to make sure that it doesn't determine how we respond to other things. Make sense? Okay, so we're going to talk about breakups, okay? We're going to talk about breakups. This is a little bit of a charged discussion, okay? Just so you know, this is a little bit of a charged discussion. I get a little bit harsh in this one, so I apologize in advance, but you don't know me. I'm going home in a few days, so feel free to dismiss everything that I say. We do get a little bit harsh, okay? And at the beginning of relationship goals, we talked a lot about how many people here were at previous talks? I don't see a lot of overlapped faces. Yeah, just a sprinkle, okay? I'll try not to review the things we talked about in previous talks because I don't want to take up your time, but we talked about how in previous talks, relationship goals is my favorite service that I do at home because it's a 100% success rate. 100%, it's the only service. You know why? Because either you help people and support people through an enriching and fruitful relationship that yokes them to the path of salvation and the two uplift each other and carry each other on that path to salvation. Doesn't that sound so beautiful? Or you break up, and it's a divorce averted. Win. And the breakup, unyoking yourself to somebody who's not going to help you get closer to him, is as much of a success as a successful marriage. As much of a success. And that is why relationship goals is, in my opinion, the only service with a 100% success rate. Okay? Part of that perspective is understanding that breakups are not bad. And that you're not tarnished if you've dated somebody and you've broken up. And sometimes culturally, okay, we carry this, right? I'll tell you, that's the environment that I grew up in, okay? And did the environment that I grew up in probably have an impact on why I feel so strongly about relationship goals? Yeah, probably. Don't want to talk about it, thank you so much, but it's okay. We're bringing up baggage from our childhood today, okay? Yes, it did. Because where I grew up, culturally, okay, and what was culturally appropriate at the time that my parents were dating is that dating is not something to be talked about. And you get engaged in order to make it socially acceptable to spend time with a member of the opposite sex. And you cannot be public because if you break up, somatic, okay? You can't be that person that goes through serial relationships because somatic, and nobody's gonna wanna marry you after that. That's the culture that they grew up in. And at the time, that was relevant. At the time, that was true. At the time and the place, right, in the culture, that was relevant, that was true, and when their parents taught that to them, it was to protect them, right? And at the end of the day, no matter how irrelevant the advice is, it comes from a good place, right? And I'm gonna get shot today because Marchie's making me do a parents talk, okay? I'm gonna get shot and we'll see how it goes. But we're gonna start with what we are united in. No matter what parenting strategies you choose, no matter who you are, no matter what you tell your kids, we know that the advice comes from a place where the parents want to protect, okay? But we do have to talk about how what was culturally relevant and appropriate has changed. And what was in service of the kids, if we don't adjust for time and culture, has changed. And this idea that you cannot have a breakup, otherwise you're damaged goods, that has changed. It has changed. Or I hope it has changed. And if, in some places it's changed, but in some places we're getting there, let's just get there, okay? Let's challenge that idea that a breakup makes you damaged goods, because it hasn't. You have gained so much from a breakup. Obviously, divorce averted, okay? You have learned so much about yourself. You have learned so much about why you respond the way you respond, what you want, what you don't want, okay? I, from previous relationships, okay, learned before I met my husband what I do not want. And I didn't know that I didn't want it until I was faced with it. You learn so much. And we believe that in certain situations, God puts you there for such a time as this, just like Esther. So we have to be able to come away from that idea that a breakup is a failure. A breakup is a stain on your dating record. That's not fair, and that's not true. Okay? Yes? Okay, at the end, there's gonna be time to fight me, okay? So please, fight me, okay? We'll fight about it, okay? Okay, all right, so why are breakups so hard? Okay, this I feel like, second nature. So number one, this relationship consumed, a large portion of your time, so it's obviously left a void, okay? On top of that, there's sometimes a sense of like, I don't want to say loss of hope because I really hope we don't take it to that extent, but sometimes that loss of like, excitement about the life you were gonna have, and like that loss of like excitement about like the future that was coming, that seemed like it was a when and not an if, and now it's an if again. Do you know what I mean? And what I hear a lot, which hurts me so much, when people like delay getting out of a relationship that is so clearly wrong for both of them is, but I've invested so much time. And they feel like it's a wasted investment, okay? That one hurts me because it's not. It's not. You've invested in yourself. You've invested in learning who you are. You've invested in your relationship with God. And if God is the one that's helping you navigate that time's up, how is that a wasted investment? Being in His presence, being led by Him, being like directed by Him. It's not. But sometimes people feel that way. I've put so much time into it, I can't back out now. And your habit is to focus on this person. In the duration of your relationship, you've prioritized this person above so many things. And so now, those habits need to be broken. So, why do we want you to bounce back? Okay? And I'll tell you, like, relationship goals. I work like about an hour away from my house, and my drive to work and my drive home from work is usually dedicated to like phone calls with people from relationship goals, okay? And half the time, I have to talk to them about why we need you to bounce back, why it's dangerous for you to just sit there and dwell. Okay? And a lot of times I get, Sarah, you're being too harsh. Sarah, you're being mean. And sometimes I get people to just hang up right there, okay? Because Sarah, you're being too harsh. But we have to talk about why just dwelling in that like morose, like melancholic, like pool of like self-pity is destructive, okay? First of all, you're over-analyzing something that's dead in the water. Okay? If it's dead in the water, and no matter how many what-ifs you walk yourself through, nothing is going to change, there's no outcome. Okay? Granted, I am an outcome-driven person. I'm very task-oriented. Did you guys hear the temperaments talk from Mary yesterday? She nailed it. Okay? I am a red. So I'm very task-oriented. Okay? So if I'm doing something that has no identifiable outcome, it's a waste of time for me. Okay? It also causes you to second-guess what you know to be true. I had somebody come and talk to me yesterday that talked about how before she got into this relationship with this person, she felt like she was an intelligent person. And after the relationship, this person somehow convinced her that her intelligence is her Achilles heel, and it's lacking. Okay? Don't give somebody the capacity to make you second guess what you know to be true. What you know to be true, okay? Obviously, when you're dwelling, it kind of amplifies emotional responses. It sort of like twists the narrative a little bit because you're focused on one side. It prevents you from coping and moving forward, okay? And like at the end of the day, ultimately, like it makes you do stupid things, right? How many people do you know that have been like dwelling on a breakup and they've sent a really stupid text message that they regret instantaneously, okay? Ooh, sorry, guys. So I love this example. The Israelites, like, sometimes I feel bad because I feel like I roast them a lot, okay? But like the Israelites with like the 40 years in the desert and all that kind of stuff, okay? This is an excerpt from where dwelling on their like misery distorted their reality, okay? So here it says, now the mixed multitude who were among them yielded to intense craving. So the children of Israel also wept again and said, who will give us meat to eat? We remember the fish which we ate freely in Egypt, the cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic. But now our whole being is dried up. There is nothing at all except this manna before our eyes, okay? What is manna? So I have a thing, like I love when I'm like kind of digging through like scripture and stuff like that, I like to go through the original translations, okay? So like I'll take, the operative word in the sentence and I'll go back. I have an app, it's a fantastic app, ask me about it after, okay? That tells you what is the definition of the word in the language as an absolute, okay? Outside of context, because sometimes things get a little bit diluted in translation, okay? The definition, Hebrew definition of the word manna is food of the angels, okay? Sweet, delicious bread that tastes like honey and melts in your mouth, okay, is apparently manna. Also, I love bread, okay? So now, this fixation on their misery has completely distorted reality for them. Completely. Instead of looking at the food that is sent by God, okay? The food of the angels, okay? That is, you have not worked for it, you have done nothing for it. It is literally hand-delivered to your door. That is like it was mercy, like 10 minutes ago. Now, our whole being is dried up. Now they wept. Okay, now they remember Egypt as like the promised land. They don't remember the slavery, okay? They don't remember like the beatings. They don't remember the torment and the oppression. They remember none of that. Now they've idealized slavery. And now that alternative that they escaped from, that God saved them from, the grass is greener over there. Because they're sitting there dwelling on their misery. So when we talk about why you have to bounce back, don't let the dwelling distort your reality. If you got out of a relationship because of X, Y, and Z, and God led you there, and you sit there and you dwell, don't let it distort the reality. Don't let it make you second guess what you know to be true, okay? Okay, this is where we're gonna get a little bit harsh, okay? So we're gonna get a little bit harsh. Can I actually get someone to volunteer to read the verse? I do that at home, but I don't really know you people, but that's fine. Come on, friends. I need somebody who's like feeling it, you know? Mina, I know your name, so it's tough. Sorry, man.
Sure, no problem. Sarah lived 127 years. These were the years of the life of Sarah. So Sarah died in Kirjath Arba, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. Then Abraham stood up before his dead and spoke to the sons of Heth, saying, I'm a foreigner and a visitor among you. Give me property for a burial place among you, that I may bury my dead out of my sight.
You're probably looking at me like, what is the relevance of this verse to what we're talking about, okay? I know that it sounds harsh, okay? And I want to say that I apologize, but I truly, frankly don't, okay? Today, what we're going to talk about is burying your dead, okay? If we're going to use this analogy, okay, nobody sits there and dwells over a rotting corpse. Nobody does that, because frankly, it's gross, okay? Today, we're going to make sure, or we're going to try to make sure that you are not sitting there dwelling over a rotting corpse, that you're going to bury your dead out of your sight. Okay, it's a little harsh, right? It's a little harsh. I'm not sorry though. All right, so I have nothing to tell you, okay? I don't know anything. I've talked about this in the first talk. I'm severely underqualified to be here. I have zero qualifications that in any way relate to relationships, and when somebody asked me if I was a relationship therapist, I spit the water out of my mouth because I was laughing so hard. I certainly am not, okay? So let's model somebody who has done a good job, okay? Let's model somebody who knows what they're talking about, okay? Let's talk about King David. I love King David, okay? I'm not supposed to have favorites, sorry, okay? But like top 4 characters in the Bible for me, top 4, okay? Elijah and St. Peter are like neck and neck, okay? St. Mary Magdalene, King David. You wanna know why? With the exception of St. Mary Magdalene, all of them are dramatic, just like me, okay? Roller coaster emotions, ride the waves, okay? King David, woo, high highs, very low lows, okay? Elijah, wow, drama after Mount Carmel. I love the drama. And he's very sarcastic, okay? Please go read 1 Kings, excellent sarcasm, okay? I love the drama. Even St. Peter, very dramatic, okay? King David, for me, I can connect because just this, I love it, okay? And on top of that, King David was often led by his emotions, often. Okay, and we talk about sound mind, okay? He maybe struggled with that a little bit, okay? We're gonna set the stage for what we're gonna talk about, okay? So we're gonna pick it up from 2 Samuel 12, okay? At this point, David had already sent Uriah into the battle to be killed, okay? And had married Bathsheba. And we know like it's a little like sketchy, right? Is everybody familiar with the story? It's a little sketchy, you know, he kind of like cut a few corners and whatever, it's a bit weird, okay? He married Bathsheba, they conceived and they bore a son. Okay? And then God sends the prophet Nathan to go and tell David, hey, listen, your well-kept secret is not actually a secret. Okay, God sees you, and God is not happy. Okay, and David repents in the moment, to David's credit, right? And that's actually, we'll talk about this another time, but the beautiful thing about King David and Saint Peter is that they can own their mistakes right away. Like, there's no like pride, there's no like, oh no, I'm the best, fight back, whatever, defend your position. Like, they can own it, okay? And so on the spot, David repents. On the spot, David apologizes, okay? And the Lord shows mercy in that David is not going to die. But for everything, there's a heavenly consequence and an earthly consequence, right? And the earthly consequence is that his son by Bathsheba will die. Okay? I know, it's tough, it's harsh, it's tough, okay? So we're going to walk through David's like steps of what's happening with his son, okay? And model that in terms of how you are supposed to walk out of a breakup, okay? Fair? Okay. Somebody pull up 2 Samuel 12 for me. I'm going to keep asking for the reading thing, okay? So poor Mina, I know his name, but like, please have some mercy on him, okay? So can someone pull up 2 Samuel on their Bible apps, and I'll get somebody to start reading, 2 Samuel 12. Volunteers are welcome.
Then the Lord sent Nathan to David, and he came to him and said to him, "There were 2 men in one city, one rich and the other poor. The rich man had exceedingly many flocks and herds, but the poor man had nothing, except one little ewe lamb which he had bought and nourished, and it grew up together with him and with his children. It ate of his own food and drank from his own cup and lay in his bosom, and it was like a daughter to him. And a traveler came to the rich man, who refused to take from his own flock and from his own herd to prepare one for the wayfaring man who had come to him. But he took the poor man's lamb and prepared it for the man who had come to him. So David's anger was greatly aroused against the man, and he said to Nathan, "As the Lord lives, the man who has done this shall surely die, and he shall restore fourfold for the lamb, because he did this thing, and because he had no pity." Then Nathan said to David, "You are the man, thus says the Lord God of Israel. I anointed you king over Israel, and I delivered you from the hand of Saul. I gave you your master's house and your master's wives into your keeping, and gave you the house of Israel and Judah. And if that had been too little, I also would have given you much more. Why have you despised the commandment of the Lord to do evil in his sight? You have killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword. You have taken his wife to be your wife, and have killed him with the sword of the people of Ammon. Now therefore the sword shall never depart from your house, because you have despised me, and have taken the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be your wife. Thus says the Lord, behold, I will raise up adversity against you from your own house, and I will take your wives before your eyes, and give them to your neighbor, and he shall lie with your wives in the sight of this sun. For you did it secretly, but I will do this thing before all Israel, before the sun." So David said to Nathan, "I have sinned against the Lord."
So basically, God through Nathan calls him out, okay? Calls him right out. And what is the first thing that David says? I have sinned against the Lord. That's the first thing he says. He doesn't point fingers. He doesn't say, oh, but Bathsheba was naked. Like, why was she naked even? Okay? He doesn't point fingers and say, but like Uriah wasn't like a great guy anyways. Okay? No. God calls him out, and the first thing he does is he looks inward. Okay? That is very hard. That is very hard. And in a breakup, that is very hard. And especially when you feel like you were the injured party. That is very hard. But I promise you, the value in looking inward first far exceeds anything else. And don't get me wrong, okay? It is therapeutic to trash the other person, okay? You just want to surround yourself with your friends that are going to hate him for you or hate her for you, okay? That's what you want to do because it feels good. But the value in looking inward first far exceeds anything else, okay? Why is confession so powerful? Yes, it's a sacrament, absolutely, okay? But why is confession so powerful? Because you call your sin by name. Why does he want you to vocalize it to a priest? Because you call your sin by name, and then you liberate yourself from the hold that sin has on you. That's why. So when you talk about a breakup, you look inward first and you acknowledge your part, okay? It is exceedingly rare that a breakup is a result of one side only. Exceedingly rare, okay? I don't want to say never. I usually say never. You know, I have a lower filter when I'm at home. I don't really know you people, and I'm trying not to make my abuna look bad, okay? But it is exceedingly rare that a breakup lives on only one side. It is exceedingly rare that there's one person that is zero to blame and one person shoulders 100% of the blame. Actually, you know what? I'm going to say it's impossible. It's impossible, okay? Whatever. I don't know you people. I'm leaving, okay? I'm going to say it's impossible, okay? There is so much value in looking inward to see what part you had to play in what happened, okay? First of all, there's closure. Because if you feel like the injured party and that person did a disservice to you and you have nothing to apologize for and you're the best and you're the best, you're just gonna live your life the victim, okay? And that person is gonna be painted as the devil to you for the rest of your life and to everybody else that you talk about. But if you look inward and you're able to acknowledge what part you played in why this went wrong, there is closure there. Okay? There is humility there because you acknowledge your own fallibility. There is learning there because you know what parts of yourself you want to grow. You know what parts of yourself you're going to pray for God to refine, for God to grow, for God to edify. There is insight there into why you responded the way you responded and how that relates to your previous experiences. Okay? And it decreases your resentment about the other person. Okay? At work right now, okay, in my job, I have like a department. My department's like maybe like 180 people or something like that, okay? And I've only been there for 2 years, and we have like some like historical, cultural issues in my department. They had a manager that was there for like 30 years. She was like bordering on abusive. Like there's a lot of like drama, okay? And we really focus on trying to fix the culture in my department, okay? And so the thing with this manager that like really messed up my staff a lot is that she was infallible, okay? You cannot come with a suggestion because a suggestion means that she's not functioning at 100% and she's 100%. And if you came with a suggestion, she would find like passive aggressive ways to like penalize staff, right? Like, oh, I fired her, she's gone, but like we're rebuilding from the ground up and we're trying to like deal with that drama and that like baggage that they have about it, okay? And so I had somebody come into my office like a few weeks ago, let's say, okay? And she was in there and she probably took the brunt of this like manager's like wrath, like poor thing, okay? She took the brunt of it, okay? But when she came into my office, she was spitting fire, okay? Fire. Like she came into my office to take me right down, okay? She wanted to like decimate me, okay? And I'm sitting there, I'm listening, I'm taking the comments, I'm not saying anything, I'm just listening, yep. And she's like just ripping me to pieces. Your leadership, and ripping me to pieces, okay? And I'm just sitting there quietly, okay? And then she kind of comes down and she stops and she's waiting for me to say something. And I look at her and I start apologizing profusely, okay? I'm apologizing that it took me, I fired her like after I had been there for about 1.5 years, okay? That it took me 1.5 years to see what was happening in my department. And I'm sorry that it took me 1.5 years to understand the magnitude of what was happening to you and nobody was saying anything. And I'm sorry that it took me like, and she wasn't talking about that at all. She just came in to like destroy me. And I started apologizing profusely because I genuinely feel that way. It shouldn't have taken me that long to see what was happening under my nose. I clearly was out of touch with my department, okay? And in that apology, she broke. And this fire that she was spitting, she just started sobbing, okay? And like, I'm not a hugger, just so you know, like I'm not a hugger, okay? And like, definitely at work, I am not a hugger, okay? I have some really strong boundaries, okay, with my staff. I am not a hugger, but that conversation ended in hugs because there is a difference in acknowledging your faults and what it does to you and what it does to the other people. We are trying to create an environment in my department where it is safe for somebody to make a mistake, to own it, and to learn from it. You know where that comes from? It comes from faith. Okay? I'm trying to bring a faith principle into my very secular, DIB, whatever department. Okay? Because that is who we are. That is what we are designed to be. We are designed to be, I am what I am by the grace of God. My flaws, my mistakes, my shortcomings, I am what I am by the grace of God. My strengths, okay? I don't sit there and wreck myself and have no confidence and have nothing, because that's an insult to Him. Because I am what I am by the grace of God. Strengths and weaknesses, successes and mistakes. Everything is through Him, in Him, for Him, because of Him. We have to be able to look inwards. It doesn't take away from our value. It doesn't take away from anything. But the learnings to be gained from being able to look inwards far exceeds anything else in a breakup. Even though the path of least resistance is to turn around and point the finger. That person that came into my office, I could have written her up for insubordination, 100%. I could have written her up for unprofessional conduct. Okay? There's 10 things I could have written her up for. But what would that have accomplished? What would be the outcome of taking that approach? And you have to ask yourselves the same thing. After a breakup, what is the outcome of trashing this person versus what is the outcome and the learnings to be gained of looking inwards? Okay, step 2. Can I get you to read from 2 Samuel 12, 13 now to 16? Any takers? Poor Murray and Mina. I'm going to start asking your names here, folks. It's like our high school kids. Yeah, please, thank you.
So David said to Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord. And Nathan said to David, the Lord also has put away your sin, he shall not die. However, because by this deed you have given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme, the child also who is born to you shall surely die. And Nathan departed to his house. And the Lord struck the child that Uriah's wife bore to David, and it became ill. David therefore pleaded with God for the child. And David fasted and went in and lay all night on the ground.
Thank you. So step number 1, okay, is you're going to acknowledge your part. Step number 2 is you're going to do everything that you can, okay? Part of what we're going to talk about later, spoiler, teaser alert, okay, in the conflict resolution talk, okay, is that our problem is my problem, okay? And in a conflict, you can't chalk something up to that's your problem, okay? Because our problem is my problem. It's not just you're wrong, you're messed up, you need some work, go get some therapy, okay? In a relationship, okay, you need to know that you have done everything that you can. And that doesn't mean that you're gonna get back together. And in a conflict, that doesn't mean that the conflict is gonna be resolved, okay? But it means that you have done everything that you can, that you have no regrets, okay? And if there's something to apologize for, you're gonna apologize. Even if it means you're not gonna get back together, okay? That's not the outcome that we're talking about. We're not looking for a specific outcome, okay? But if there's something to apologize for, you're gonna apologize. If there's something to take accountability for, you're gonna take accountability. If there's things that you can talk about, things that you can do, communication that didn't happen, that needs to be had, if there's baggage, if there's a possibility of reconciliation, if there isn't, okay, you're going to do everything that you can. You're going to try your hardest. You're going to have no regrets of anything else that you could have done, okay? You're going to focus, just like David, okay? So the elders of his house arose and went to him to raise him up from the ground, but he would not, nor did he eat food with them, okay? Because he was going to do everything that he can. He doesn't know what the outcome's going to be, okay? God has said, I'm going to have mercy on you. You're not going to die, okay? But this is the consequence. And David doesn't know if God's going to change his mind. But he's going to do everything that he can, no regrets. It's the same for you. I don't want you to walk away from anything with regrets and with what ifs. And what if I had tried? And what if I had communicated? And what if I had prayed more? What if? I don't want that for you. I want you to do everything you can, regardless of the outcome. And spoiler alert, David didn't get the outcome. And spoiler alert, David probably knew that he wasn't going to get the outcome. But it doesn't change, no regrets, that you have done everything that you can. Okay? Can I get someone to read from 17 to 19? I told the guys yesterday, the more darts you throw, the easier it gets, but it's not really flying here, guys. Don't make me second guess what I think. 17 to 19, thank you. Okay, so what happens? David is spending morning to night lying on the ground, praying, pleading with God, doing everything that he can to change the outcome, doing everything that he can to apologize, to take back his mistakes, to smooth things over. He's doing everything that he can, okay? But it is what it is, okay? It is what it is. Here's the beautiful thing about David, okay? They were afraid to tell him that the child was dead. Why? Because David is dramatic, okay? Everybody has seen his drama, okay? David and Abigail, one little guy insults him, and I'm gonna decimate everything, and I'm gonna kill all the men and whatever in the house, and very dramatic, okay? Very high highs and low lows. And they're afraid of his response because they know his drama, okay? Here's the beautiful thing about David, okay? As dramatic as he is, and I would hope one day to be like this, as dramatic as he is, he's grounded. And he's outcome driven, okay? And he's a man after his own heart, okay? He's got his eye on the prize, okay? And so they tell him, he sees them whispering, okay? And he just goes out there and calls a spade a spade. They don't want to say that the child is dead. They say they're hedging, oh, we spoke to him and he would not heed our voice, they're hedging, okay? And he just goes up, call a spade, is the child dead? Yes, he's dead. You know what the parallel of this is in a breakup? If you are broken up, if it is dead in the water, if you have done everything that you can, you have to accept it. I can't tell you how many times I'll be on the phone with somebody and I'll be like, hey, I know you guys had a really crucial conversation planned last night. How did it go? Well, we decided that we're each gonna take some space. So did you break up? Well, I don't know if I would call it that, but we're taking some time to think. So are you broken up? Okay, don't hedge. Don't hedge. Because all it does for you is that it prolongs the inevitable. It prolongs your dwelling and your being consumed by it, okay? Once it's done, once it's dead in the water, be David. Call a spade a spade. Minimize the what ifs. When your friends are asking you, don't answer with, we're praying about it. You're broken up, friends. You're broken up, okay? The one that kills me is, oh, we're on a break. What is a break? What is it? Are you broken up? Can you date other people? Can he? Do you know? Is it unclear? If it's unclear, you didn't do a good job communicating here, friends. Okay? What is a break? A break is a breakup. It's a temporary breakup because you think it's going to be temporary, but it's a breakup. Okay? Don't hedge. If it's dead in the water, if there's nothing to be reconciled, if it's over, the sooner you accept it, the better for you. Okay? Okay, someone read 2 Samuel 12, 20 to 23. Just gonna make a casual observation that outside of Mina, who I voluntold, all the people volunteering to reading are girls. Just, we talked about being bold yesterday and showing, rising to the design, just throwing it out there. Not to put anybody on blast, but kind of. See, now the girls are hanging back and trying not to step in and take over, right? It's what I told them. I shot myself in the foot. Come on, guys. 2023. Yes, thank you, friend. Thank you. Somebody get his name. Haram is still pulling it up. Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Then David got up from the ground. After he had washed, put on lotions, and changed his clothes, he went into the house of the Lord and worshipped. Then he went to his own house, and at his request they served him food, and he ate. His attendants asked him, "Why are you acting this way? While the child was alive, you fasted and wept, but now that the child is dead, you get up and eat." He answered, "While the child was still alive, I fasted and wept. I thought, who knows, the Lord may be gracious to me and let the child live. But now that he is dead, why should I go on fasting? Can I bring him back again? I will go to him, but he will not return to me."
What's your name, friend? What's your name? You're an excellent reader. Like, just the intonation, like, you're an excellent reader. I might unfortunately call on you later, okay? Okay, so what happened here, okay? So we've said, step number 1, you're gonna acknowledge your faults, okay? Step number 2, you're gonna do everything that you can, okay? Step number 3, if there's nothing left to be reconciled, you're gonna accept it, you're gonna call a spade, you're gonna stop saying silly things like we're on a break, we're praying about it, blah, 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 and you're just gonna call it, we're broken up, okay? We are done, it is over, okay? Sounds harsh, rip the Band-Aid off, no problem, okay? Step number 4 is you're gonna start trying, okay? This is where I'm gonna take some bullets, okay? So feel free to fight me, no problem. This is where I'm gonna take some bullets, okay? So David, while his child was alive, while it seemed like there was hope and he should be like, you know, like in there and acting normally and whatever, because the kid is still alive, okay? He refused to eat. He refused to go sit with them. He refused to take a shower, whatever, okay? Because he was trying everything that he could. In their custom, okay, he was doing what he should be doing during the mourning period. During the mourning period, you don't eat and you put the ashes on the head and the weeping and the gnashing of teeth and the ultom and like that kind of stuff, okay? That's what he should be doing after he dies. But he flipped the script on them, okay? He did it while he's alive, but now that he's dead, goes, take a shower, his hair looks nice, eat some food, like things are good. And they're looking at him like, are you crazy? What is happening? Why are you doing this? And he says to them, okay, while the child was alive, I fasted and wept, for I said, who can tell whether the Lord will be gracious to me that the child may live? But now he's dead. Why should I fast? Can I bring him back again? I shall go to him, and he will not return to me. There is nothing that comes from dwelling on something that is dead in the water. There is no identifiable outcome associated with you rotting. There isn't. And David, the most dramatic of us all, okay, after it happened, pulled his socks up, okay, appreciated that there's nothing else that can come of this, and started trying. Picked himself back up, accepted the fact that it was done, closure, got himself up, okay, and started trying. If you look in 1 Samuel 16:1, God gives them similar advice for something else. When Saul had been rejected, okay, now the Lord said to Samuel, how long will you mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Okay, how long are you going to do this? How long are you going to sit there and focus your efforts on something that is not going to change? Something that has no identifiable outcome attached to it? How long are you going to do that? Okay? Okay, the bullets are coming. Are you ready? Okay. I'm going to talk about Sarah's 3-day rule. Okay? This is not a reflection of church or dogma or anything like that. This is certainly not a reflection of SMSV. Please, Abuna, forgive me. Okay? Like, this is what I think. Okay? And what we also discussed yesterday is that my timelines are timelines asterisk. Okay? Asterisk. You extrapolate that onto whatever appropriate timeline you think is fine. Culturally appropriate, all that stuff. Okay? Sarah's 3-day rule, okay, is post-breakup, you be Elijah, okay? You have your drama fest, okay? Do you guys remember Elijah after Mount Carmel? I'm getting like excited. Oh, I think I talked about it right here. Oh, yes, okay. Okay, let's introduce Elijah first, and then we'll talk about what? okay? So, oh, you can't see it. Okay, so Elijah is one of my, maybe number one, okay? Love Elijah, he's my favorite, okay? Because he goes to Mount Carmel, okay? And he's like so sarcastic, he's like so sassy, like, oh, you guys are gonna sacrifice to these gods, and then look, they're not taking the fire up to heaven. Maybe your gods are sleeping, maybe your gods are on vacation, maybe they're on the bathroom or whatever. And he's being sarcastic and he's sassing them, okay? And then he accomplishes this like crazy thing out at Mount Carmel, and he's like, ugh, peak, right? We talk about how like when you're serving, okay, like you feel the power of God flow through you. Like the woman who was bleeding for many years and she touched Christ even though he's surrounded by throngs of people, okay? And he turns around and says, "Who touches me? Who touched me?" And the people are like, "Are you joking? There's like 1,000 people all over you." And he's like, "No. I felt the power go out of me." Okay? That's service. Okay? That's a different talk. We'll talk about that another day, okay? But like Elijah probably felt the power go through him in like being the hands and feet and the mouth of God's plan, okay, of God's will. And he's, now Carmel's this, okay? And then one little itty bitty tiny woman tells him, "I'm gonna kill you." And what does he do? Oh, runs away. And the drama, "Lord, take my life, please. They all seek to kill me. I'm the only one who's serving you, and now they want to kill me. Just take me now, Lord, take me now." And he runs away, and the drama, okay? Listen to the drama. All Jezebel said was, "So let the gods do to me and more also if I do not make your life as the life of one of them by tomorrow around this time." One-liner, okay? And what does he do? Okay? He saw that, arose and ran for his life, okay, from this woman, okay? But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness and came and sat down under a broom tree, and he prayed that he might die and said, "It is enough. Now, Lord, take my life, for I am no better than my fathers." Okay, the drama, okay? And what does God do? What does God do? I love Elijah so much, okay? What does God do? Then as he lay and slept under a broom tree, suddenly an angel touched him and said, "Arise and eat." Then he looked, and there by his head was a cake baked on coals and a jar of water. So he ate and drank and lay down again. And the angel of the Lord came back the second time and touched him and said, "Arise and eat, because the journey is too great for you, Habibi." Like I just imagine like the Habibi in it, okay? So he rose and ate and drank and went in the strength of that food for 40 days and 40 nights, okay? He's dramatic, okay? And this is a personal thing for me because I have my first daughter is very dramatic, very dramatic. Like we've really had to talk about like, okay, Millie, like what happens when you're dramatic about everything? Like you lose your impact here, kiddo, okay? Dramatic about everything. Elijah here, drama, okay? And what does God do? He babies him. What does God do? Here's a cake. Arise and eat. You know, you take your time, Habibi. I know it hurts. I know it's hard. Your life is hard. I know. And sometimes we have to do that with our kids, right? Like Millie falls and then she scrapes her knee, "Mom, my life is over." I know, Beans. Does it hurt? It hurts. I know. It's so hard. I know it's so hard. Or like Maddie will come home and, "Mama," Maddie's my 3-year-old, okay? Come home, "Mama, today Hannah didn't share her toys with me." I know. Life is so hard, okay? And where did I learn this from? Because what does God do with Elijah? He babies him, okay? Even though you just accomplished much, okay? You're riding high on the power of God that flowed through you, through your service, okay? And he crashed. And my life is so hard. And take me now. Let me die. It is enough, Lord. I can't do this anymore. And what does God do? It's okay. Arise, eat, sleep, tub. It's okay. In the tenderness, in the mercy of God, he babied him. He did. Okay? So what is Sarah's 3-day rule? Sarah, okay? You have a breakup. It hurts. It's bad. Okay? It's okay. You take your 3 days. You cry. You eat your... pocket. Thank you. So what is Sarah's 3-day rule? Okay? Breakup happens. It's okay. It hurts. You're devastated about the loss of the future that you hoped you guys were going to bring. Take your 3 days. Eat your ice cream. Cry. Watch your rom-coms. Okay, whatever. What is your thing that you have to do? You do it. You want to call in sick to work? I don't support this as a leader, but whatever. Don't tell me, okay? You do you. Boo, okay? You take your 3 days, you have your little pity fest, you do your whatever, you do what you got to do, okay? But on day 4, you pick yourself back up. I'm not saying that on day 4, you're going to be over this person. But I'm going to say that on day 4, you're going to start trying to be over this person. And I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know what the length of your relationship was. I don't know, like, what a big deal this was. I don't know anything, okay? Day 1, 2, and 3, you cry, pity fest, Lord, take my life. It's enough. It's enough. You do all that, do the drama, okay? Day 4, you get yourself up and you start trying. I'm hoping you're praying throughout the whole drama, the way Elijah was, okay? But like, whatever, that's between you and God. You get back up and you pray. You pray that God heals your heart. You pray that God gives you the strength that you feel you don't have, okay? You get up, you go to work, you see your friends, you take a shower because you probably smell because you've been rotting in bed for 3 days, okay? You stop having ice cream for breakfast and you have a healthy, nutritious acai bowl, which you guys in California love, okay? Whatever. Fruits and oatmeal is basically what it is, but that's totally fine, okay? Whatever. And we just call it oatmeal at home, but that's fine, okay? You go to work, okay? You decide that you're going to start trying. And I get slaughtered for this one, slaughtered at home, okay? I get all the people who are fresh out of a relationship, their hands shoot up right away. How can you say that? 3 days, this was a big part of my life. And they lose their minds on me every single time, okay? I get it. It's hard. I've been through breakups too. I get it. It's hard, okay? I've been through losses and all that. I get it. And I'm not saying that on day 4, you are whole again. But on day 4, you start trying to be whole. You take your efforts, like David, and you put them in the right direction. Just like they said in 1 Samuel, how long will you mourn? Your life cannot stop over this. It cannot. Because then you take God, who's here, and you make this a priority over God. And then you've taken your eye off the prize, and you've made the prize this person, and it's no longer him. Okay? When we talk about relationship goals, we talk about dating talks, we talk about marriage as a path to salvation. Okay? Yes, it's not romantic. Everybody asks me like, oh, like what's the point of marriage? Oh, I need someone to make me happy and make me feel good about myself. Wrong. Okay? Marriage is a path to salvation. It teaches you how to empty yourself of your selfish desires so that you can be filled by him. Okay? It's supposed to be a path to him. That somebody is yoked with you to help you, edify you, refine you, to teach you, okay, how to empty yourself in service of another person, which you then extrapolate onto your relationship with him. That's what it is. Okay? And you sit there and you dwell, and this breakup consumes you, and now your eye is off the prize. And you've made this person who's left you or you've left them or whatever it is, the prize. Because that's your focus and you're consumed by it. You can't live that way. You can't live that way. It's counterintuitive to the entire premise of dating and marriage. You can't live that way. So you need to be Elijah, you be Elijah. I love Elijah. You take your day, you cry, you do all that stuff. But on day 4, you refocus. You get your eye on the prize, and you pull your socks up, okay, and you start trying. And I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know. Because I don't know you, I don't know the person, I don't know the situation, I don't know anything. But what I know is that whether you start trying is your decision. And if you've decided that you're just going to rot, that's your decision. But if you decide that you're going to start trying, that's in your control. Okay? So, Elijah, okay, who I love, okay, drama, cry, Lord, take me now, take me now. And God said, tub, okay? God said, it's okay, Habibi, no problem, okay? After the tub, okay, I usually don't pull out my air brake, it's only for comedic relief, okay? After that, okay, what does God do? Gives him the cake, he gives him the water, gives him whatever, babies him for a little bit, and then God tells him, go out and stand on the mountain before the Lord. Get up, okay? You can't be sitting there on the ground whining and complaining forever, okay? You've had your little cry fest, now get up. Go out and stand on the mountain before the Lord. And what happens when Elijah gets up? He re-experiences God in a way he hadn't before. That's what happens. Because God has brought you here for such a time as this. Do not take the way God wants you to turn to Him and experience Him and deprioritize that underneath your cry fest. As soon as God told Elijah after the 3-day or whatever the tub was over, okay, get up and stand, get out, go out, that's where Elijah found God. When he got up, when he started trying. Was he over it? No. Was he in a stable place? No. Okay? Was he in a place where like he's ready to just like be what he was before on Mount Carmel? No. But he started trying. And that's where God met him. That's where God had Elijah re-experience him in a different way. You have to get up. Okay? Isaiah 43, do not remember the former things, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth, shall you not know it? I will even make a road in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. Don't let the old prevent you from re-experiencing the new. That's one of the most beautiful things about our relationship with God. He makes all things new. And you think that this is your routine and your relationship with God, and then He changes it up, and it's even better. Okay? We talk to old married couples about spice it up a little bit, reinvent the wheel a little bit. He does that with you every time. Okay? Where do we get that from? We got that from Him. Okay? His relationship with Elijah was this. Elijah went through a low, and then God changed it up on him, spiced it up, re-experienced it in a different way. Don't let your focus on the former prevent you from experiencing the new, prevent you from seeing what God has in store for you, okay? Don't let that happen. That's your decision, okay? Okay, so general, practical tips, okay, specific to breakups. I get asked this question every time, so I'm just gonna head it off before they post the Slido. Can we be friends? No, okay? Sorry, not sorry. You can't be friends, okay? Especially if you're lying on the ground in your bathroom, rotting and sobbing and mourning, definitely you can't be friends, okay? You are not in a state to be friends with anybody, okay? No. When you are ready to be friends, okay, what you're doing for is you're striving for indifference about that person. That's the first step, okay? So for anybody in this room who's ever been through a breakup, okay, you know, the first time you see this person after you've broken up, right? Let's say you're coming to church, fresh off a breakup, whatever, you walk in and out of the corner of your eye you see the person. You're like, and you're standing on this side and they're over there, but you're hyper aware of their coordinates in the room. And they went to the bathroom and then they're this way, they're going up for communion right now, and you know exactly where they are, and you're hypercharged, right? Not ready to be friends, okay? You're striving for indifference. Oh, that person's here, not here, doesn't change anything, okay? Oh, that person's posted that they're engaged on Facebook, oh, okay, great. Doesn't wreck you, okay? You're striving for indifference. In that same train of thought, okay, please don't avoid social settings, okay? If you rot, if you mourn, if you run away, if you hide, it prolongs the point at which you achieve indifference, okay? And my general rule across the board for life in general, awkwardness can always be overcome. Always, okay? Maybe it's just who I am because I love Ako Taco situations, love them, thrive on them, I think they're hilarious. But awkwardness can always be overcome, and trust that God knows what you need better than you know what you need. And please, please, please don't lose hope. I can't tell you this weekend, some people have told me some pretty heavy things. I think for me, the thing that's heaviest to carry, following this weekend, is the hopelessness. The people that have just given up, okay? Don't lose hope. David survived the loss of a child, okay? Let me tell you, that ain't easy, okay? But then David comforted his wife Bathsheba, went into her, and you know what was the result of that? Solomon. Okay? Everybody knows who Solomon was. Solomon. So please don't lose hope. Please don't let the former and the old prevent you from working towards the future. Okay? Okay. I feel like I'm running out of time. I feel this way every time, so I'm going to try and blast through the baggage piece. We're back. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the baggage piece. I'll try to kind of skim through it because I love the Elijah and the David, and then, whatever. Okay. So, history happened. Hello? There we go. History is what happened to you. Baggage is how you feel about it. Okay? And baggage is not limited to previous romantic relationships. Baggage can be family stuff, like experiences, losses, work, friendship, etc., and baggage has the capacity to color a lot of your future interactions, okay? So I was telling this story to a few people last night, okay? I have a little bit of baggage about something. When I was younger, okay, my dad used to open my mail. It used to drive me crazy, drive me insane, okay? Has my name on it, has my tuition payments, like this is, it's mine. And his rule was, my house, I get to know everything that comes in and comes out, okay? Whatever, okay? Fast forward to the first year I'm married to my husband, okay? My husband's relationship with his parents is like a full disclosure relationship. Like, he genuinely, in his heart of hearts, wants to know what they think. And their opinion, like, matters. Imagine. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay? And so, we were living, like, far away at the time, and we had to do something with taxes. I'm not, like, super, into the details about our finances and stuff like that. Something to do with taxes, something needed to be signed at the accountant, whatever. I don't know, something like that. Okay? And so, we were living away, we were both on call, whatever, and then, so my husband, his parents have the same accountant, so he tells them, when you guys are there, just open ours and sign for me. Even now, I'm like physically reacting to it, okay? I lost my mind. Okay? What communication? Out the window, okay? Lost my mind. Because, okay, I have my own baggage about feeling like my mail was inappropriately opened for my whole life, okay? Like, outside of that, like, as an independent, like, that's our personal financial information, like, please, okay, boundaries, please, okay? Whatever, okay? Aside from the absolute reasons why I was right, I have my own, okay? And from his perspective, this is in line with how he's lived his whole life. What do you mean? What's the problem? They just signed, what's the issue? And the magnitude of my reaction floored him. He's like, what just happened? Like, he could not have predicted this for the life of him. Like, what just happened? Okay? And in our, like, post-mortem, because he almost died, post-mortem conversations, okay, of what happened, we had to talk about how, like, this is not a thing, okay? And, like, based on, like, who I am, okay, and what I've been through and what I feel and whatever, this explains the magnitude of my reaction, okay? We're gonna get to a point today where we talk about not letting it justify the magnitude of your reaction. So explains, not justifies, okay? But the explanation piece is the first step. Being able to acknowledge that you have baggage, okay? You just got out of a really ugly breakup. You have to be able to acknowledge that that's gonna color your perceptions on a few things, right? I had someone at home, not here, at home, talk to me about the first time she ever dated a Coptic guy, okay? And of course, the first time she ever dated a Coptic guy, it went horribly, okay? Of course. Thank you, Habibi, for defining the entire community, okay? And it became to her that Coptic guys are this, and they're jerks, and they just want to be in charge, and like, this guy, sure, maybe, but not the rest of us, okay? And we had to acknowledge that she now has baggage about this relationship that she has extrapolated onto an entire community, okay? But the first step to being able to do that is to have insight into your baggage, okay? Being able to understand yourself and why you feel the way you feel, and being able to dig deep and being able to articulate that, okay? It's fine to think it, but you have to be able to articulate that, okay? To yourself, in your whatever, journal writing. People are all about journal writing, like, all the power to you, whatever it is, okay? For me, my jam is confession. That's my jam, okay? My poor father for confession, my jam is confession. Like, I'm not a journaler, but I can see the value in it. Something's going on, straight to confession I go. And my father confession is like, okay, is this like a 1 hour time slot or like a 1.5 hour time slot? Like, Abuna, don't book an appointment after me. Like, that's our relationship, okay? You have to be able to articulate why you feel the way you feel. Because for yourself, there's growth and there's learning and there's insight, okay? And for the future, that may need to be articulated to somebody else to explain, not justify, but certainly to explain, okay? I talk about these kind of things a lot, okay? in dating relationships, obviously not in a breakup, like you're past that point, you don't need to play games with them anymore, but in a relationship, I love this kind of stuff, okay? I love like dates that are like question for question, okay? So like that one on the left, 101 questions to ask before you get engaged, is a nice like conversation prompt, right? Because it's got topics that may not organically arise in the course of a relationship, right? Like, and some of it is like way out of left field, but it's a prompt in terms of insight into how you feel about things and insight into your history. And the ones on the right, so my husband and I like play these games, like every so often we'll schedule a date, get the babysitter or whatever, and we'll bring one of these with us and we'll play, okay? We've been married for 12 years, almost 12 years, okay? Like sometimes I think like, wow, 12 years is a really long time, okay? But still, 12 years later, okay, there are questions that come up that bring up things from like childhood or how he feels about things and why, and you know, in his answering a question, he'll tell a story that I haven't heard about that give you insight, right? And so the reason we talk about this is because it's helpful to be able to have prompts that bring things to the surface, especially things that may have an impact on how you feel, how you react, how you communicate, your decision making in the future. It's helpful. Okay? Step number 1, acknowledge you have baggage. Step number 2 is you bring him your baggage. Okay? He makes us whole. There are avenues through which he works. Okay? There are avenues through which he works. Okay? Therapy could be one of those avenues. Confession could be one of those avenues. Wise counsel from the people that you admire spiritually could be one of those avenues. I don't know what his avenue is. But ultimately, he makes us whole. So when you bring him everything, okay, this is not exempt. It's not. And like, I'll tell you, we went through a situation with my son like last year. Ask me about it later. It's very dramatic and like I get very upset. I'm not an emotional person except when it comes to Toby. Toby brings out a side of me that I don't love, okay? Like, if only like, anyways, we're not gonna get into this, okay? We went through a difficult situation last year with my son Toby, okay? And I prayed, my husband and I were not seeing eye to eye about what the right course of action was, okay? And I prayed with my whole heart, like, do I believe in my heart that my husband leads us? Yes. And that he is yoked to God? Yes. And that God guides every single decision, opinion? Yes. You guys don't know my husband? He's the best person there is, okay? I believe it in my heart, okay? But did it make it easier for me to like align how I'm feeling about the situation with what we decided? No. And the whole year, I prayed with my heart, like, please God, like, if this is what you want, like, just heal my stuff. Okay, like make it so that this is not as hurtful, this is not as painful. Like make it so that every time we start talking about this, I'm not gonna like fall apart. Please, okay? And just the week before I came, okay, we were talking about something and I was mentioning Toby's situation to somebody in passing, okay? And then my husband after, he's like, hey, you know, that's the like first time I've seen you talk about it just like openly, like casual, like conversation. And I thought to myself, yeah, actually, you're right. Like I'm not such a blubbering mess about it anymore. And in that moment, it was like a perfect reminder. Hello? There. He makes things whole to the point that like, this is like the new norm and you don't even realize that you used to be missing this. Like, I don't know how long I've been this way. I don't know how long I've been able to like talk about it in passing, whatever. I only realized it because my husband pointed it out. But then I thought about it, I'm like, actually I've been talking about this for a while now. But that's what he does. He makes things whole. He makes things like fixed. So don't take this and compartmentalize it away from him when he's the one that has the capacity to fix, okay? So acknowledge your baggage, okay? Bring your baggage to him. Reconcile your grief, okay? I always get asked the question, when is it appropriate to jump into another relationship after a breakup, okay? I love this question. It's probably gonna come up on the Slido, so I'm gonna head it off, okay? I get this question every single time. I don't know, okay? Because I don't know who you are. I don't know how you process things. I don't know your situation. But I am gonna say, you cannot be grieving and jumping into another relationship, okay? Your emotions have to be reconciled before you're ready to try again, out of fairness to yourself and fairness to the other person, okay? Nobody wants to go on date 1 to your frou-frou coffee places in California, okay, and sit there and hear about your ex-boyfriend for 3.5 hours. The date won't last 3.5 hours, okay? Nobody wants to sit there and every time you watch a sad movie, somebody's sobbing and blubbering over there over the ex-boyfriend and they're sitting here with the new one and they're just like, okay, great, like chopped liver, I'm plan B, okay? Out of fairness to yourself and to the other people, okay, you have to be able to take the learnings from that situation, reconcile your grief, okay, pray for progress, okay, and gauge where you're at before you jump into another one. And like I said, for me, it's step number 1 is that indifference, okay? Not hyper aware of their every moment and their every decision and their every direction in life, okay? Whew, this one hurts, okay? Because I had a few conversations yesterday that they're not going to leave me. They're going to stay with me forever, okay? Restabilize your self-esteem, okay? The few people that I talked to yesterday who so much was taken from them, from their previous relationships, it hurts, okay? Breakups do not take away from your value in his eyes. And at the beginning of this discussion, we talked about how we are striving for an environment and a culture where breakups do not take away from your value in each other's eyes, okay? The parents thing and the culture gap and whatever, that's tough, okay? Because I had a few people come and talk to me about how it did take away from their value in their parents' eyes. And their parents are telling them, because you saw this person and dated them and broke up with them, now you're never gonna get married. Like, I wanted to like sob with that girl, I did. Because that hurts, okay? But breakups do not take away from your value in his eyes. If he is not holding it against you, don't hold it against yourself, okay? Don't take this like opportunity that he brought to re-experience him in different ways, to be Elijah, okay? And use it to tear yourself down. Because that is not your design. That is not what he made for you. That is not the goal here, okay? And in taking whatever that situation is and letting it chip away at who you are, okay? You are hurting what he designed you to be, okay? I'll give you an example. I love confrontation. I do not fear confrontation in the least. So I mean it when I say fight me. Come at me. Let's do it, okay? I don't mind when people like slam what I'm saying or insult me or whatever. I have no problems, okay? And I'm cool as a cucumber. I'm mellow yellow, like no problem. The day one of you people come and says something about my children, all the best to you, friends, okay? I wish you the very best, because Mama Bear comes out, okay? And like, we had a situation at church where I was sitting here like this. So my eldest is like a strong yellow. She's like social butterfly, whatever. And my youngest is a fire red, and like she's frankly exhausting, but like tough as nails and mean as can, okay? And then my middle guy is just like the haboob, like, I love you, mommy, and he loves everybody. And like, we used to take them to a service where like we went and like, it was almost like a soup kitchen, and you'd like turn your back for a second, you're getting something, and you look this way, and Toby's sitting on the lap of this like homeless man, and he's like stroking his beard, and he's like loving him, and like, I have 1,000 pictures on my phone of like, Toby's like sitting on Abuna's lap, and he's like playing with his beard, and he's like twirling it around his fingers, like, Toby's like a haboob, okay? And I was sitting at church, and Toby's dressed, and he's sitting there, okay? And there's 3 on this side that are pointing and laughing and making fun of Toby. Spiritual struggle, okay? First, why am I looking? I should be focused in liturgy, okay? Spiritual struggle, okay? Do not insult my children, okay? I know that they're flawed, and I know that there are things about them that they're gonna grow and they have to work on, okay? But do not insult my children. When you tear yourself down, you are insulting his children. And there's nothing that makes a parent more defensive about that than insulting their children. Because I look at Toby, okay, yes, he's a deacon and his finger is in his nose. I am aware, okay, that this is not the appropriate thing to be doing while he's dressed as a deacon, okay? But I see what he's gonna be. I see his potential. I see who he is. I see his purity of heart. And that's what he sees in you. So don't let somebody make you second guess how he sees you. And when we talk about relationships, you're looking for somebody who sees you through the eyes of Christ. That's what they see. Don't let somebody make you stop seeing yourself through the eyes of Christ. That's not humility, okay? Humility is not tearing yourself down, and I'm horrible, and I'm awful, and I'm this, and I'm that. Humility is, I am what I am by the grace of God. Flaws, shortcomings, and strengths. Why? Because I'm a child of God. I am made in his image. I know who I am. And I'm not perfect. I have issues. I have problems. But I am a child of God. I am what I am by the grace of God. Don't let anybody take that away from you. It is not theirs to take. Okay? Rebuild, number 5, rebuild your support system. Okay? We are not created to be in isolation. We are not created that way. Okay? You need your support system, lean on it. Okay? I don't know what your support system is. Okay? My father confession is usually first call, poor guy. I'm gonna give him a nice Christmas gift. Okay? Whatever your support system is. Obviously, I highly recommend, like, father's confession, but like whatever, you do you, your jam, whatever it is. Don't isolate yourself from your support system. You don't have to do this alone. So don't do it alone if you don't have to. Okay? I laugh usually sometimes at number 6. I don't know if this is like a Canada thing, like a cultural thing, like I'm not sure. But we have this like tendency in Canada where somebody goes through like a particularly messy breakup or like a public breakup or whatever it is, and bam, they book the flight ticket to the mission trip on the spot. Okay? Like, it's like breakup happened and like on the drive home, they're booking a flight to Kenya. Okay? Like, I don't know. Okay, like I don't know, I don't have a specific like opinion about that, but what I am going to say is you use that as an opportunity to pursue his plan for your life. If his plan for your life is to go to Kenya, go to Kenya. Go. Okay, I love Kenya. That was the peak of my like journey with God. I loved it. Okay, go. But just like make sure he's telling you to go. Okay, like make sure that this is what he wants for you. Okay? Use this as an opportunity to pursue his plan for your life. Okay? And be bold. I come back to this verse, I think every single talk in relationship goals, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Lean on that through the baggage and the breakups. All right. Questions. Who's going to fight me? I want the first person to take the 3-day rule and annihilate it. 10 seconds.
Okay. Also, you guys can like the questions and they can move up to the top, so then we could ask those. Okay, first one. How do you explain to someone else that you crossed all sorts of physical boundaries with your previous partner?
I think I've been asked this question maybe 1,000 times during this weekend, okay? I want to go back to this whole concept of if he doesn't hold it against you, we don't hold it against you, okay? And who you were or what you've done does not change the value that you have in his eyes, okay? My son killed my husband yesterday, okay? My husband is at home, single dadding, okay, for the weekend. Poor guy, please. Like, I have to do something very nice for him when I get back, okay? And Toby is very averse to, do you guys have Kumon in America? Do you know what Kumon is? Yeah? Okay. Toby hates Kumon with his whole being, okay? Kumon to him is like a swear word. And my husband, ambitious as he is, decided that even though mommy's away and I'm single dadding 3 kids under the age of 7, I'm gonna do Kumon. If it was me, Kumon would be out the window. We're just trying to survive, friend, okay? He decided. And my husband and Toby battled yesterday for 5 hours over his Kumon. 5 hours. They're both very stubborn, okay? This is the only thing, my husband is like mellow yellow, this is the only thing that makes Rami approach the edge of losing his cool. He never loses his cool. My husband is like mellow yellow. Like, you don't know, is he excited? We don't know. Is he upset? We don't know. Like, he's just mellow yellow, okay? He never shows emotion. This is the only thing that, like, you get the minor blip, okay? Does he hold that against Toby? No. Toby and Rami's relationship is like, it brings people to tears. It's a beautiful thing. Like, my son adores my husband, and my husband, all of them, I promise, they all love him, okay? But my husband adores Toby, okay? It does not change the value in daddy's eyes, and neither does this. It does not change the value in his eyes. You are not loved based on your performance. You are not. You are loved based on his grace and his mercy and his compassion. And the same way I tell my kids, he's trying to tell you there's nothing you can do that can make me love you any less. Okay? As a culture, are we working towards modeling that? Yes. Do we have work to do? Yes. Has everybody been able to like model him perfectly? No. But that is what you know, that you don't let somebody second guess what you know to be true. Okay? Now, in terms of the appropriate time, okay, to talk about this, I struggle with this a lot. And I get asked this question a lot. So jump in if I'm like way out of left field here, okay? The hope is that we see each other through the eyes of Christ, okay? We see the beauty, we see the love, we see the potential, okay? That's the hope, okay? Before you're in like a committed relationship with this person, as you're getting to know this person, okay, you don't owe anybody anything. And you don't owe anybody information about yourself, okay? You're not committed to this person, you're not marrying this person if you're still dating them, okay? You're still in that assessment period where you're each trying to assess each other to see if this is the person that you want yoked to the path of salvation with you, okay? And you don't owe this person anything, okay? With that said, as the commitment level increases, as the trust increases, at some point, that's going to be talked about. Okay? What is that point in the trajectory of your relationship? I mean, I'm getting a lot of heat for my timelines here. So I can't give you like, okay, month number 3 is when we need to schedule that conversation. I don't know. But I am going to say that there needs to be at least somewhat of a foundation of trust before you talk about that. Should you be talking about it the night before your wedding? No, friends, you waited too long. Okay? Should you be talking about it after you're engaged? Probably not. I'm gonna strongly advise that you do that while you're dating. Okay? Where in that trajectory? That depends on you, depends on the couple, depends on the whole thing. But I am gonna say my opinion, don't quote me, sorry Abuna, okay, is that it's like right at the cusp of when you're starting to feel like, okay, this could really be like something real, okay? And like as that commitment level is like starting to deepen. Because you also don't want to get too invested if this person doesn't have the capacity to walk away from it. Do you guys want to add anything?
Can we get a talk about what are real reasons for breakups versus dumb reasons to break up?
A real, like, okay, sounds like you're really second guessing why somebody broke up with you and that you don't agree with their rationale. Okay. Okay. I have a friend, okay, shall remain nameless, who was in this exact situation that I think you're in. Maybe I'm like overthinking it, and so tell me if I am. Okay, was in this exact situation where he was broken up with, okay, and he genuinely, in his heart of hearts, feels like this person doesn't have a good reason to break up with him, okay, and was like arguing with her about the invalidity of her reasons, okay? Does it matter? Okay? Like, let's be outcome focused for a second, okay? Does it matter if you agree with the reason if he or she still wants out? Like, the outcome is that they don't want to be in a relationship with you. Does the why change the outcome? Okay? If the question is about yourself, okay, and like, what's a real reason for me to break up with somebody versus not to break up with somebody, okay, that's the point at which we talk about like deal breakers versus preferences, okay? Deal breakers is if it never changes, I will never be able to live with this, okay? There's like something in the middle, which is like, I think I know what I feel about this, but I'm not really sure, I'm open to talking about it. If you make a compelling argument, you can probably convince me, okay? And preferences are, this is what I want, nice to have, but not need to have, okay? Deal breakers, break up, 100%, okay? Break up. Everything else, subject to conversation, okay? And I would say probably the ultimate deal breaker, that's universal for everybody, yoke to the path of salvation. That's probably number one reason. If this person does not help you on your path to salvation, they hold you back, out the door you go, because you got to keep your eye on the prize.
What is your opinion on saying yes to a date just for the sake of giving the other person a chance, even if you know you are not physically attracted to them?
I need more information, okay? Because I need to know if you're a boy or a girl asking this question, okay? And I'll tell you why. Abuna told me don't make me look bad and I'm about to do it. Okay, here we go, friends, okay? Again, I don't know you, dismiss what I say. You don't know me, I have no qualifications. I'm going home in a few days, it's fine, okay? If you are, I'm really gonna get myself in trouble. Do you guys wanna take this one before I get myself in trouble? Are you sure? Men in black? No, you're not gonna have my back on this one. Okay. If you are, well, my friend at the back knows what I'm gonna say and he's dying of laughter back there. Okay. If you are a boy asking this question, okay? If it is a boy who is asking this question, okay? And he is not physically attracted to the girl, okay? Boys are wired differently, okay? Attraction is almost like a standalone to emotions. It's a yes or a no, okay? So you know you always like watch these movies or whatever where you have this like American couple on the screen or whatever, and she's asking like, do you think that girl's pretty? And it's like a trap, right? Because if he says yes, are you looking at other girls? And if he says no, she's like, you're lying, she's beautiful. And it's like, it's a trap, okay? Boys have the capacity to compartmentalize things. They're wired differently, okay? So attraction is a standalone. It doesn't necessarily have to be related to commitment and emotional involvement and spirituality. It can just be in its own box, separate, okay? But attraction is like a yes-no for a guy. It has to be there, like, and if it's not there, it's probably not coming, okay? So I've had many couples come and talk to me, and the guy like really wants to be attracted to her because she's so nice and she meets all the check boxes and she's so great and but I just can't rally, okay? It's probably not gonna come. Now, if it's a girl, I'm so sorry, okay? If it's a girl asking this question, okay, we are wired a little bit differently, okay? So boys are like boxes, okay, and they can compartmentalize. Girls, everything is like this, okay? Yesterday, for those that were here, we had one algorithm for boys, but we had two for girls because we are much more complicated, okay? And everything overlaps. And like boys can only have like one thought at a time, and they're just focused on that one thought at a time. And sometimes when I imagine like what is happening in my son's head, it's just like a fly buzzing around an empty room, okay? My daughters and me, okay, it's like everything is tangential. Like we're having 65 different thoughts at the same time, and everything is everything is connected, and there's 5 different like paths, and they all come back to like one conclusion. Okay? So attraction and emotions with a girl are much more intertwined, much more. Okay? And so with a girl, if the first time you meet this guy, you're like, I'm usually into like, dark-haired guys, and this one's a little light-haired. I'm like, not really vibing it, okay? There is much more potential for that to grow as the emotional security grows and the emotional attachment grows, because we are much more like emotionally governed people than guys. Guys are very like black and white, simple, like yes or no. And girls are much more like intertwined emotionally. So is there a higher likelihood that attraction can grow with a girl? Yes. Is it a lower likelihood with boys? I think so. But like, fight me, this guy back here is gonna fight me, and I might wanna let clergy step in because I'm gonna put my foot in my mouth right now. Anybody? Please, help me. No? Okay, cool. Yes, friend? Yeah, I've been married for 12 years, folks. But my husband is like super hot, just so you know. Sorry, can I say that in the church? I can't say that in the church, can I? Okay, sorry. There's so many people that have asked me for a picture of my husband. I'm so sorry. I haven't told any of them. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, can attraction fade? Yes, okay? And marriage is a path to salvation because there's a lot of times in marriage where things are a decision, okay? So today, my husband is driving me bonkers, but I'm gonna decide to love him anyway. We've made a covenant, okay? And a covenant, like, there's parts of your life where it's easy to adhere to the covenant and parts where it's really, really hard, okay? You wanna know my pet peeve with my husband? Drives me bonkers, okay? Okay, I feel way too much about myself here, okay? I have a thing, okay? After I had kids, okay, when you have kids and you change the diaper or whatever, how do you clean the bum? With wipes, right? Wet wipes. That's how you clean the bum, right? Why don't adults do that? They should. It's cleaner. It's better, okay? So in my house, we have many wipes containers. Children and adults alike, we are equal opportunity across the board, okay? Everybody gets wipes. You go to the bathroom, you wipes, okay? My husband has a tendency, okay, to keep the wipes containers open all over the house. And then you go, you're looking for a wipe, the whole thing is dry, okay? I'm getting upset as I'm talking about it, okay? I'm getting upset, okay? In that moment, I have to choose to love him because I'm gonna kill him, okay? There are, like, after I had my kids, he had to choose to love me because I was a hormonal wreck, okay? Like C-section, OR, die, all over the place, haven't showered in 3 days. Like, am I at my peak of attractiveness? I most certainly am not, okay? And he has to choose. So yes, attraction can fade, not with my husband, but yes, attraction can fade. But what doesn't fade is covenant. And what doesn't fade is commitment. And what doesn't fade is your decision and your commitment to love them anyway. Absolutely, okay? But marriage is fun, friend, right? Marriage is fun. And if you choose to yoke yourself to somebody with which it is not already fun, it's not gonna get more fun, it's gonna get less fun. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get shot, please. Okay, we're drowning. All right, ask me another one.
How do you actually acknowledge the red flags right away and not ignore them by thinking you can just work through them?
I mean, it depends on what the red flags are. Like if they're very like overt or if they're kind of like DL, okay? And what I'm learning as of recent is that it depends on who you are, okay? So, for example, I am a red, okay? If you say something stupid, I'm going to tell you it's very stupid, okay? That is who I am. I do not fear confrontation. I do not fear bluntness to a fault, right? Like my strength training is I'm working on being nicer because my default is task-oriented, not like, how did that make you feel, okay? There are other temperaments that are like greens and blues that are hyper-aware of how other people feel. And so it's much harder for them to be able to see a red flag and to act on it and to talk about it and to have a conversation about it, okay? Because they're worried about the conflict and they're worried about the absence of like peace and harmony, okay? So the advice is gonna differ based on who you are. If I'm talking to a red, I'm gonna be like, okay, can you not decimate somebody every time they make a mistake? Because that's their tendency. If I'm talking to a green, okay, I'm gonna coach them and say, you need to advocate for yourself. Okay? This bothers you. It's okay that it bothers you. How can we help support you in having the courage to be able to talk about it? Do you know what I mean? So the advice is going to differ based on what the red flag is and who the person is who's trying to bring it to the surface and talk about it and address it. But I am going to kind of fall back on dating is an assessment. Okay? Red flags are part of the assessment. You need to be able to look at it like an assessment because this is somebody that you're yoked to forever. Okay? Yes, friend. You better be really good at investigative work. I don't know, like, so, oh, his question was, what happens if the person that you're dating is really good at hiding those red flags, right? Yeah. Yeah. But that's the purpose of dating, right? Like, don't marry the person after date 5. right? That's why we date, is because you have to, and that's why we don't tell people to get engaged 2 weeks after they met the person, right? Because you have to give this person enough time to show who they are, right? And if who they are is aligned with what you want your household to be, is aligned with the path to salvation, is aligned with modeling Christ, right? We talked about this so much yesterday. Christ, church, that's the model, okay? And you have to give this person time to show you if they are aligned with being Christ or being the church. You can't do that, you're right, after the first few dates. But that's why we tell you, date, right? And there are some cultural expectations of the appropriate length of a dating period, okay? I can't speak to what is or isn't appropriate. I can tell you my personal opinion, okay, is that when my parents said that the longest anybody could ever date is like 3 months before they have to get engaged, challenge that, folks. Challenge that one, okay? But I am going to say that challenge what the cultural expectation is and why it is. Because in my opinion, Bruno Thomas is going to kill me, opinion, okay, you date longer, engaged shorter. Because that's the investigative work. By the time you're at the point of being engaged, you've made a decision that's hopefully like a well-founded decision, right? So why prolong? But the dating period is the investigative work. Sorry, nowadays what? Yeah. I agree. Everybody's racing to the altar. The wedding is not that fun, folks. Deprioritize it. Yes.
When you talk to your brother confession, you usually say all the bad stuff in the relationship and every bad thing that you're experiencing with the person. You don't really find brother confession and say the good stuff that happened. So wouldn't he be inclined to advise you against that person?
So, okay. I'm gonna get myself shot. Okay. I have very strong opinions on your relationship with your father of confession, okay? There's 3 of them, or 2.5, sitting on that side, okay? I don't really know, like, what Marchie is. We don't have Marchies in Canada, okay? I don't know what he is, okay? And so, like, I have to, like, navigate this carefully here, okay? But I have very strong opinions on your relationship with your father of confession. And, like, my father of confession right now is a slam dunk, okay? And, like, as much as he doesn't have time for me, I'll never leave him, okay? Because I love him to death. Why? Because he, and we're actually going to talk about this in the servants talk, actually. He has active listening skills, okay? And what that means is he doesn't just hear what was said, he also hears what I'm not saying, okay? And that is, we're going to, again, talk about this in the servants talk, that is something that as a servant, whatever you serve, okay, if it's people that you serve, is something that you strive for, is hearing what is said, but also what is not said, okay? And where to probe. So I have never had an experience with this father of confession, okay, where he is inclined to one side of the story because he's responding to the negative without probing me for the full story, okay? However, I have had previous father of confessions, okay? I'm gonna leave it there because I'm gonna get fired. But I think you know what I'm saying. Talk to me after when I'm not in a mic. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, so we'll combine 2 questions. How did you and your husband deal with baggage from previous relationships? How much did you share / keep from each other? And then how do you overcome shame that accompanies having been in a previous relationship where appropriate physical boundaries were not held?
You know, I feel like, Margie, as we like talk about this in the future, we need to do a whole topic on that one. The shame and the physical boundaries and all that kind of stuff. This is coming up a lot, okay? So the first part of the question was, how did we deal with baggage? Transparently, we talked about it, okay? Like so I am, okay, we're gonna talk about this later in the conflict resolution, okay? But my conflict style, which we're gonna talk about, is avoidant, okay? With my husband at work, I'm full guns blazing, full steam ahead, okay? All of you people, full steam ahead, okay? But when it comes to my husband, I'm like and I retreat. Okay, and I become like a little bit of a hedgehog, and I retreat. And my husband is also like opposite. At work and in social situations, social settings and whatever, he's an introvert, okay? So he hates conflict, he's not full steam ahead, he's not like the most talkative person in the room, like that's not him. But at home, okay, he's able to like, you know, drag that stuff out of me. And when we were dating, I was the, what's wrong, I'm fine. What's going on? Are you mad? No, I'm fine. Everything's fine. Let's just go. I'm great. And like you're like racing to finish your sentence, okay? And he had an excellent ability to be able to like coach me into talking about it, okay? And now that we've been married for so long, we kind of have like a dynamic, right? Like he doesn't have to pull as hard and blah, blah, I volunteer and all that kind of stuff, but 12 years is a long time. So the best way to be able to deal with the baggage is to be able to acknowledge it and talk about it, right? And sometimes there's baggage there that you didn't even know about, okay? And it like reared its ugly head in a conflict where your reaction was like way bigger than anybody could have anticipated because of your baggage, right? But we don't criticize you for having the fight or having the blow up. What we would criticize is what you do with it, okay? Productive fighting and being able to take these differences, these conflicts, these ways that baggage like reared its head and make them into something productive where you're on more solid ground after it's over and you have more insight into the other person and you understand each other better. And the only way that we're able to do that is to be able to communicate it. How do you deal with the feelings of shame and all that kind of stuff after physical boundaries have been crossed? I'm going to go back to what I said. This does not change your value in God's eyes. It doesn't. And the same way breakups can be paralyzing, shame can be paralyzing. But he has taken that burden off of your shoulders based on who he is and who you are to him. Don't fight to take it back. He has taken that from you. He has carried it for you and he has gotten rid of it, okay? Don't rifle through the garbage and try and find it and bring it back. It's gone now. Okay, but just so you guys know transparently, like we're having a lot of discussions with people here, like after relationship goals. I had a really insightful conversation last night as well, and we kind of like rejig, readjust, like no two series of relationship goals look exactly the same. This one I think is going to get refocused on.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Could everyone give her a warm welcome, please? All right, well, the next talk is at 4 p.m., so please take some time. It's 3:28 right now. Relax. There's some snacks and drinks outside. If you want to run and get something to eat, run and get something to eat very quickly, and then come back, and we'll hopefully start right around 4 o'clock. On time. So thank you all very much. Oh, sorry. One more thing.
There's a lot of restaurants nearby if you want to run. In-N-Out, Balboa, just Main Street. Out of the church, make a left. On Balboa, make a left, and it'll be right there. There's also a big shopping center, right? Also, when you make a left on Balboa, there's Chipotle. There's all sort of things by there as well.
We'll be ready.
Thank you.